Hi, I'm Linz. Welcome to Becoming Everwell, a channel where we talk about the ongoing journey of becoming. In today's life learning episode for Midlife You, we're talking about finding your way through the darkness, and I'm going to share a story about my dog who's doing just that.
I make sense of life by writing about real everyday stuff that makes us who we are. Some of these snapshots are fun, some are more serious. Maybe they'll open up something in you too. Let's grow.
My sweet 6-year-old boxer, Sunshine, suddenly went blind last week. Lights out. We've sought the appropriate veterinarian care, and we've learned that her blindness is here to stay. It's a shocking shift to our anticipated future for her and, frankly, for our whole family. And the blunt truth is that we'd much prefer if the brain tumor that's causing her blindness didn't exist at all. But because we love her and because we can't control these circumstances and because time stubbornly can't be rewound, as a family, we're embracing our new normal. We're committed to keeping our furniture in place, not leaving shoes or backpacks in familiar household pathways, talking to her gently as we make movements around her, and carrying on with our lives while giving her loads of attention, guidance, and affection. Naturally, new challenges exist. Unfamiliar places confuse her. Open drawers and cupboards in her path startle her and stop her in her tracks. Stairwells impede her freedom and independence. No longer does she get to keep watch for bunnies and squirrels in the yard from her favorite window seat perch. No longer does she get to alert us of visitors pulling into the driveway. No longer does she perform her little ballerina trick when we offer her a treat. And no longer does she run freely outside. But I'm also noticing how swiftly she's finding her way in her new reality. Granted, she has no cognitive understanding of why her visual world has shut down. She can't possibly be aware that she has a brain tumor that will likely be the cause of her death. But I imagine that even as a dog, her sudden blindness must feel isolating. Sure, she has the companionship of her kooky canine brother, Teddy, that's the one who sits here with me, who's become her clueless, totally unqualified seeing eye dog. But she's undeniably alone in her darkness. And yet, she's not surrendering to her isolation. Rather, she's chosen a different path for herself. She's chosen trust. First, she's trusting her other senses, in particular, her sense of sound, smell, and touch. And also, she's proving to trust us, like entirely. And I find her unadulterated trust of us to be stunning. You see, Sunny is a rescue dog. Her first few years were spent breeding puppies on repeat in the inhumane environment of a puppy mill. She came to us physically raw, emotionally damaged, and distrusting toward people. We've steadily provided her with the basic comforts of a loving life, and she's cautiously taken to cushioned beds, yummy treats, and free kisses. We've sensed her peaceful gratitude for her new life. But the echo of her former life has also seemed to live just beneath the surface. Loud noises and fast movements, for instance, seem to trigger her broader fear of people. Before her blindness, I couldn't tell how much she actually trusted us. After all, we are the same species that initially let her down. Now, I've explored trust and I've written about it, and I think that there are 8 different kinds of trust. Specifically, someone can have a trusted familiarity, someone can be a trusted resource, a trusted vault, a trusted presence, a trusted ally, a trusted spirit, a trusted growth partner, and someone can have self-trust. In most of our relationships, I find that trust shines through in 1 or maybe 2 of these ways. And I've come to believe that trust doesn't have to be all or nothing. A relationship is trustworthy if any element of trust exists. But this rare, all-encompassing trust that Sunny has suddenly bestowed on us got me wondering more about what trust even is. And how could a being who's been conditioned to distrust switch gears to trust wholeheartedly? Brene Brown and her research team spent 10 years figuring out what makes up trust, and she outlines it in her book, Atlas of the Heart. She uses the acronym BRAVING to describe the components of trust, which I'll quote, but I've also condensed a little bit. B is for boundaries. You respect my boundaries. R is for reliability. You do what you say you'll do. A is accountability. You own your mistakes, apologize, and make amends. V is for vault. You don't share information that's not yours to share. I is for integrity. You choose what is right and courageous over what is comfortable, fast, fun, or easy. N is for non-judgmental. We can ask for what we need and talk about how we feel without judgment. And G is for generosity. We extend the most generous interpretation possible to the intentions, words, and actions of others. When it comes to animals, a few of these components matter less than they would for our human relationships, like being a non-judgmental vault. But Brown's research helps me understand why Sunny has given over to trust. In her blindness, she must have a primal sense that her boundaries are respected, that her home life is reliable, that accountability and amends for accidental disturbances will continue to happen, and she must sense a generosity in her actions towards her. I imagine that most of us, at least metaphorically, can relate to being blinded. An obvious example rings true after this country's historic presidential election. Half the nation is coping with a new darkness. But darkness also falls upon us in private ways. A diagnosis, a closed chapter, a betrayal, a natural disaster like a raging fire that takes our home. As we carry on from here in the various darknesses that shroud us, and even if we feel paralyzed with the impossible question, now what? I suppose I'm inspired to seek out hope, like Sunny has, by leaning in to the sources of trust in my midst. Growth happens when we open ourselves to trust. Even Sunny, with her traumatic beginning, seemed to recognize that trust was a better alternative for her future than giving in to fears from the past. Maybe she's become aware of her mortality and the harsh truth that we don't get much time here. Or maybe that's just me. But the life learning I've gleaned from my pup is that trust can be a compass towards hope when trying to find your way through the dark. Let's keep growing. Thank you for being here. If you like what you've heard, please give it a heart, subscribe, share this with somebody, leave a comment, tell me who you are. I'd love to know. If you'd like to learn more about everything that I offer, you can go to my website, lindsayhardy.com. It's all there. And I'm sending you love. Be well. Until next time.
Be sure to like and subscribe and click that bell to get alerts for new posts. I'd be ever grateful.